Hey, what is up guys? So we are going to be going over cards that you should trade for and cards that you should get rid of. But we got a lot of cards to take a look at, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, we do know MADOLCHEs are getting more support and Jelly, and I've been doing a lot of play testing as well as losing to MADOLCHEs. It is a very good deck. Not only have I played the deck, but I've watched people play it, and it's a very good deck. And we don't know the rarity of Angeli yet. However, that deck is absolutely ridiculous with Angeli. We'll have to wait for the rarity of Angeli, because if it is something like Secret Rare, it will, detract a lot of players from actually playing the deck. But nonetheless, MADOLCHE MAGILEINE and MADOLCHE HOOTCAKE are all going to be hot cards. They are already slightly increasing in price, but here's the thing. Basically, what it comes down to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is what decks are winning huge tournaments, and then there hasn't been a huge tournament for a very long time, and obviously, since the new ban list is going to be taking in effect relatively soon, once that first deck tops and gets first place at the YCS, everything in that deck increases dramatically. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. So, MADOLCHE is looking pretty good. I don't know when we will get Angeli, but best believe it, when it comes out, MADOLCHEs will be very, very strong. Next up, high rarity Lightsworn stuff. We already know Lightsworn is getting a bunch of support. Again, I don't know when this is coming out because the OCG already has, but I've been sacking a lot of people with the Ferris, the Lightsworn Archer. That card is absolutely ridiculous because you could mill into multiples. Its effect is not once per turn, so you can keep on going for it over and over, unless they happen to change it in the future, which I think that they should. But anyways, high rarity Lightsworn stuff, ultimate rare Lilas, secret rare Judgment Dragons, ultimate rare Judgment Dragons, those cards will probably be hot. Lightsworn is not a deck that a lot of players that top consistently favor, but it is a deck that will top simply because the fact of a lot of people will be running it, and then a lot of players will think it is a good deck technically. It's kind of a coin toss though, so if you lose when you're playing Lightsworn, sometimes it's just your mills weren't good, the hands that you are given with multiple wolves and multiple Ferris Lightsworn Archers, sometimes you just have a bad hand, so keep that in mind too if you're interested in playing in the deck. I don't know if you guys have checked the price of Ghost Rare Honest, but hey, for me this was like a surprise, because I was like, are you serious? It increased like 4 times the price since I last checked it, but I think it's because Boojins, perhaps, maybe it's already because of the Lightsworn hype, but this is kind of one of those cards, I myself, I used to vend cards all the time, but I haven't been looking at prices recently for Ghost Rare Honest, and oh my gosh, this card is absolutely ridiculous right now. So I mean, if you see, even a vendor can have this card, they might have it for cheap. Sometimes vendors don't update their prices because they just, have too much going on. They don't check out some of the older cards, so yeah, keep in mind Ghost Rare Honest might be a good pickup even from like a vendor or something like that. Next up, we already know that we have another rank 7 getting its reprint, number 11 Big Eye, but there's also Dracossack in question, because right now I would say the only decks that can really make rank 7s really fast are Harpies and Mermills. Someone's going to make Dragons again though, they're going to make it, so I was thinking maybe Dracossack could be a contender to getting reprinted, and this is a card that I would recommend you perhaps to get rid of, because here's the thing, there's no huge support for like rank 7s right now, and there's nothing really that that is coming out that's going to be able to make this really easy. And if you keep on holding on, if you have like 10, 20 copies of this, I would recommend getting rid of them, because I don't think there's anything that's going to make this card increase in price. It is only going to go slightly down, and then once it has its reprint and it's announced, it's going to slash the price in like half. But we already do know that Big Eye is getting a reprint, so that's just a heads up for you guys that didn't know. So this is a card I recommend you guys to get rid of. It is coming out on January 17th, so you got a little under a month to get rid of it if you really need to. But yeah, Big Eye, pretty nasty card to run into. I mean, if you're playing Mermills, then yeah, you probably need it, so Big Eye, pretty good card. Next up, we have a lot of reprints for spellbooks. We already got the Secret Rare High Priestess of Prophecy, as well as the other secret rare. We have the Spellbook of the Master, and I feel like, why don't they release Spellbook of Secrets or Spellbook Magician of Prophecy as, either commons or, they'll just, I feel like one of these cards will probably get reprinted, or something will happen to it. The way I look at it is, if you have a bunch of these, you can technically make a profit off of it, because there's going to be a lot of players that are interested in playing these decks. However, one problem I do want to mention with the Spellbook deck is, very rarely, unless you're playing some like Reaper Turbo build or something, you don't really have the opportunity to OTK too hard, and you're just going to get ran over by other decks that can simply either OTK you, or like, MADOLCHE's, Lightsworn, there's so many decks that can just OTK you, or throw something out on board which shuts you down, like it stuns you, so you can't really get out your monsters or anything like that. And then you have Spellbook of Fate at 1, which is like, how are you going to get rid of that Ophion? It's going to be a task sometimes. I know you can increase your attack, but sometimes you just won't be able to get out that monster. I mean, you could put Spellbook of Power twice on this thing, and it'd be 2,500, and that extra 50 that Ophion has just makes him too strong. But yeah, I figured that, personally for me, I would get rid of these if I had these. This is kind of like a coin toss here, because if these don't get reprinted, a lot of more players might be interested in getting these, and there's no reason why you wouldn't want to play triple Spellbook of Secrets. And depending on the number of these, I really feel like one of these could get reprinted or something like that, because they're reprinting a bunch of stuff in the Spellbook deck. So I feel like that they're trying to make it like a budget-friendly deck. Next up, we have Coach Soldier WOLFRAK. This card is really good in Fire Fist, and believe it or not, Fire Fist, tanky going to 3, will cause that deck to see a rise in play, therefore more players will want Coach King WOLFRAK. Plus, this card is absolutely ridiculous. Basically, he opens up plays for, well, depending if you actually have a level 4 Fire Beast monsters, you can, I guess you can synchro with it. I mean, he doesn't really have like a downside. His only effect is you can only use its effect once per turn. But here's the thing, I mean, you can go into XYZ plays. Basically, he opens plays for Tiger King to, add a +1, and then, potentially on more pluses. But this card is absolutely ridiculous, and it is kind of already an expensive card. But once that first deck tops with Fire Fist, or whatever they top with Fire Kings, this card will see a even higher increase in price. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh goes. Next up, we have GEARGIARMOR. This card, again, one of those cards that slightly increased in price, but like I said, a bunch of these cards will go even higher in price simply because, they're actually pushing Yu-Gi-Ohs pretty hard now. I don't know for what reason. I don't see any more cards that are like absolutely crazy in the deck. There's one card where it's like when it's like you normal summon it, then you can add a Geargia to your hand, but you can't conduct your battle phase, and you can only special summon machine type monsters that turn. But it's fine. You just go for first turn Geargia X, which also got its reprint. So then you can just go ahead and go for +1, and then you basically go 1 for +1, and then you get another +1. It's absolutely crazy. So I think that this deck has a lot of potential, and it's already seen a lot of play already. It's already topped multiple times from like YCSs and stuff. The more popular version is the Karakuri one, the Karakuri Geargia. However, sometimes that deck can have a problem against things like Vandy's Emptiness. Well, a lot of decks can have problems against it, but there's no like Geargia Inzektor Hornet. That's what they really need. They need a card that you can set and that can pop like one card. But then, obviously it shouldn't have 1900 defense or some crazy ability. But yeah, I think that they can lose Vandy's Emptiness relatively quick, so just keep that in mind as well. They can play around Ophion, though, obviously you can XYZ, but against things like Vandy's Emptiness, sometimes the deck can't really do much, because all it really needs to do is special summon, because its ability is to add a bunch of cards, just special summon a bunch of cards, and then win. So you can OTK pretty easy in this deck. Next up, I figured we've mentioned Gravekeepers. Sometimes you can find some good deals if someone's like maybe quitting a certain deck. They're like, you know what, I'm tired of Gravekeepers, and they have a, obviously Champion Pack Spy is kind of hard to come by at relatively inexpensive prices, but if you can pick up a fully foiled out, like even if it's gold rare Gravekeepers deck, and if it's relatively inexpensive, I would say pick it up, because the thing with Gravekeepers, they're getting more support, and the deck is not bad. I mean, it's already won. They haven't really hit anything in the deck. Real Trivia, obviously a really OP card. If you open it with it, you pretty much win against most decks anyways. But the thing is, yeah, if you can pick them up for relatively cheap, I mean, they're only like a couple bucks each, but if you can pick up, basically them at like a quarter each, there are players that sell things for relatively inexpensive prices just because they want to get rid of them. So if you pick up like the full deck for, probably, well, it depends what the deck has. And I would say if you pick it up for like, I don't know, 20 bucks, it wouldn't be bad, but it all depends on what the condition of the cards are and stuff like that. But nonetheless, if you can pick up a fully like gold rare or even a full Gravekeepers deck for relatively cheap, because it's a very easy deck to play and a lot of players just have it lying around. And if they want to get rid of it, hey, maybe you can pick it up. Maybe you can actually build a Gravekeeper deck yourself for relatively cheap, because there's basically the Gravekeeper Infernity barrier. But next up, another card that is great to pick up is Scrap Chimera. We already know that Scraps are getting a bunch of support in the future, so I'm thinking perhaps Scraps will be good. The thing is, Scrap Chimera right now, at the time of making this video, I saw it for $1.50, and the guy had a lot of them, and I was debating on buying a bunch, but honestly, I don't really have too much time to invest into small cards unless you want to buy huge quantities. Meaning that if you're interested in buying Scrap Chimera and they're $2 right now, and let's say in the future they go up to like $5, you can make a decent amount of profit, but you're gonna have to buy a huge amount to actually make a huge profit. Where is if you picked up something like, I don't know, this a long time ago, or actually no, better example would be this a long time ago when it was relatively cheap, you can get, a bonus of maybe doubling or tripling your price, whereas this is just a couple bucks. I mean, even if you're doubling or tripling $1, it's still like, not that much, but, I figured it was good to mention whether you're trying to build scraps or if you just want to make some profit off the game, pick up a bunch of these. But if it gets reprinted, I'm so sorry, because, it could maybe get, I mean, in Duelist Revolution, very old, so who knows. Maybe they will reprint it to encourage people to play scraps in the future, but it's a relatively inexpensive card anyways. Next up, cards that you should get rid of. I recommend getting rid of Noble Knights. Here's the thing with this. I got rid of mine before, like right before I started increasing in price, and I was like, dang it, why did I do that? But then the deck never really did anything, so I was like, why do I even care? But there's no new support for coming out for Noble Knights, and so I'm like, okay, well, the deck doesn't look too hot right now. Plus, it has an awful matchup against the MADOLCHEs because sometimes they'll be in a position where they need to make a defensive play, and they'll go for that one card that's like, you can detach and it increases its attack by 500 if it would be destroyed by battle, or destroyed by either, I think it's just destroyed period or something like that. But anyways, you just go Tiramisu, bounce back, and then they lose all their equips, and then they just kind of fall apart from there. So for me personally, I would say you can get rid of the deck, whether you just have some of the cards or if you have the entire deck, because there's no new support coming out for it in the future that is like known. And I doubt like they'll be like, okay, four formats later, let's go ahead and support Noble Knights, guys. That could happen, but I don't think anytime soon the deck will see a huge boost in you know, a price increase or anything that they're going to get to really add in the deck to make it actually like super high tier. I feel like Bujins are going to be a very popular deck, and sometimes this can have a bad matchup against Bujin because, well, let's be honest, you can't target the stupid Yamato, you can't attack into it, there's just like nothing you can do to the thing. It's just like, nope, I'm here and you can't do anything. Also, sometimes Noble Knights, unless you have the right equip spell, sometimes Vanity's... Well, I mean, Vanity's Emptiness, let's be honest, it hurts basically everything. And the deck relies on their equips and being able to re-special summon and all that stuff. So, Vanity's Emptiness, pretty nasty card. So, yeah, those are the cards I think you should get rid of or pick up, whether you are interested in, you know, getting more Yu-Gi-Oh cards to trade for, or if you're interested in just making a profit off of the game for some extra cash monies. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you felt like there's any cards that I missed out, hey, let me know in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes out.